Welcome to this demo on Tableau from MindMajix. So coming to me, so having 14 years of experience in the field of information technology, more than 12 years of experience working on BI technologies like Tableau, Power BI, and MicroStrategies. Also have been working in the field of advanced data analytics using artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm a certified Tableau desktop qualified associate, and I have completed my PGP in artificial intelligence and machine learning from BITS Pilani. So coming to the scope of the demo today, we will be going through the introduction to the Tableau. We will cover things like what is Tableau, a brief history of Tableau, who should learn Tableau, what are the prerequisites for one when they are going to learn Tableau, what is business intelligence, what comprises a business intelligence architecture, what are the different products we have available in Tableau, that is the product suite of Tableau tool, the Tableau pricing for the different roles that we play in the organization, and how do you download Tableau Desktop and your interface of Tableau Desktop. So the first thing coming to the first topic is what is Tableau. So Tableau is nothing but a business intelligence tool which has excellent data visualization capabilities. It's quite an easy to learn tool with which you can easily produce visually appealing reports that are easy to understand. Coming to the brief history of Tableau. So Tableau started with a Department of Defense project which was conducted at Stanford University's Department of Computer Science between 1999 and 2002, which was aimed at increasing people's ability to analyze information. So Chris Pratt and a team of Stanford PhDs, they realized that computer graphics could deliver huge gains in people's ability to understand information. So rather than analyzing data in a textual format and then creating visualizations of those findings, Chris and Pat invented a technology called as Visual Query Language. In short, it is called VSQL, by which visualization became part of the journey and not just the destination. So before the advent of Tableau, the traditional BI ecosystem, if you see, like MicroStrategy, SAP Business Objects, Oracle BI, etc. So this was in a very lengthy development process, wherein there was a schema layer between the tool and your end database, which is your data warehouse tables. Okay, and then within the schema, we used to arrange like what are the attributes and what are your fact columns, and you used to map these to your background database tables. And once you create your schema objects, and then after establishing your schema layer, you used to subsequently create something like public objects or object reporting objects, wherein you define the metrics, that is the aggregation of your facts and any transformations you're doing on the attributes. And then you will place these dimensions or attributes and your metrics or measures onto a grid report kind of reports, rows and columns kind of fashion first. And then you will convert these into visualizations like a pie chart or a bar chart, and then later on place these individual grid reports onto a dashboard. And that's how these traditional BI tools used to work. And this was a huge development gap. Large amount of development time used to go on before you come to the level of seeing the visualization of your data. Whereas with the Tableau, what Chris and Pat has done with the visual query language is, the moment you connect your Tableau desktop with your database table, it will automatically categorize them into dimensions and measures. And when you drag these columns, or that is your dimensions and measures, onto the canvas, immediately your visualization starts appearing. So this is possible with this technology called as visual query language. And this has actually reduced the amount of time to develop a dashboard. And therefore, development with the Tableau has become much faster and easier to understand for anyone from BI developers to the end users. So together with Christian Chabot, Chris and Pat, they formed this company, and it spun out of Stanford like many other successful organizations before them, like Google, Yahoo, and VMware. So this way, Tableau was founded in 2003, and the company went public on May 17th of 2013. So we have seen that Tableau is a business intelligence tool, and we have also seen what is the history of Tableau. So next is the thing like who should learn Tableau. Right? So anyone who is interested in exploring and visualizing data in the form of graphs or visuals can learn Tableau. These are these different job profiles who generally use this tool, which include but are not limited to the following, like the BI developers. So any BI tool, BI developers will be the first set of people who will be learning this tool. Then we have data analysts. So they are also using Tableau extensively. Data scientists are nowadays using Tableau extensively for their visualization of their results, so that they can explain what were their analysis about this different scenarios that they face. And even top level management like CEO, product, or marketing managers as well are using Tableau because it is quite easy to drag and drop and create your own ad hoc reports for visualization. So next is what will be the prerequisites to learn Tableau. So basically none, I would say, as you will see that this course covers all the basic concepts required to make you an expert on Tableau starting from the zero level. So it is good to have a basic knowledge on the following topics, but nevertheless, I shall give the required information on these during our course. So things like SQL query language. So any BI tool would trigger a sequential query language in the background. So whatever you're doing on the BI side, it would actually go as a select query back with a where condition or sub queries back to your data warehouse. So basic knowledge of SQL, like what is a join, what is a left join, inner join, right outer join things, and what is a union kind of things we require. And if you're not having knowledge on SQL, no issues. Like when we are on that particular topic, I'll give you the required background information for you to make comfortable in that topic. Data warehousing concepts like what is a attribute, what is a fact, these kind of things are required to just understand, because whatever BI tool you are doing are coming from these data warehousing tables. Data modeling like star schema or snowflake schema kind of concepts you require. But don't worry, like if you don't have sufficient knowledge on these, I will separately cover these required concepts so that you are aware of what these things are. So next is what is business intelligence. So we have said that Tableau is a BI tool. So, what is this BI? What is business intelligence? So, to put in a simple words, business intelligence is a technology-driven process for analyzing data and presenting actionable information to help executives, managers, and other corporate end users to make informed business decisions. So put it in a nutshell, whatever the data that we have now in our organizations, actually everything is in the digital format, whether it is your sales, whether it's your inventory, whatever things you take about your process that are running in your organization, everything is digitally generated and stored in your tables. So what you do make out of these data that is residing in your tables in the organization, what kind of insights are they able to give you? So that is made possible using business intelligence, wherein you are using tools like Tableau to analyze the underlying data that is there in these tables, and you are coming up with graphs and visuals answering the questions by the corporate end users. Like they have different business questions. So are there any particular seasons where there are more sales? Are there any products which are after giving discount are making more sales? What is the amount of inventory that is left? What could be the amount of inventory which might require when there are peak seasons of sales? So these kind of questions they might ask, and using a visualization tool like Tableau, it is quite easy to represent these answers to the business end users, so they can see these visualizations and come up with business decisions which are going to help their business. So this is a Gartner graph with respect to data analytics. So on the x-axis you have the difficulty to achieve this task in the organization, and on the y-axis you have the value it gives you to the organization. So data analytics can be divided into four categories. One is called as descriptive analytics. So descriptive analytics tells you what happened in your organization. So what is your sales? What is your profit? What is the profit ratio? How many products have been sold in a particular category? What are the sales in a particular region? Kind of questions. Like what is the actual snapshot of the happening of your business, like last month, this week, or today, kind of things. Then there is something like why did it happen? That is diagnostic analytics. So if your sales has gone up for a particular product, is it because you are giving more discount on that product, or because a new or a new version of that product has been released in the market, or is it coinciding with certain holiday seasons or big sales week or something like that? So those kind of relations you can establish in the concept of analytics called as diagnostic analytics. So the next two things, that is predictive and prescriptive analytics, are a little difficult to achieve in terms of technology wise. So for these you require advanced machine learning algorithms like Python or R, which have inbuilt libraries where you run this code and get these answers to these questions. So predictive analytics talks about what will happen in the future. So if you have the historical data about your sales or profits or inventory, in your data warehouse, using that, can we predict what could be the future requirement for your company? So that is coming in the predictive analytics, what will happen in the future. And prescriptive analytics is even more further, where it tells you like by doing so and so action, or by increasing the discount by so and so, you can increase the sales of a product by a certain margin which you are asking. So if I want to increase the sales by around 15%, what kind of amount of discount, in what range I can expect to give a discount. So that will be answered by the concept of prescriptive analytics, which tells you how can you make a particular action happen in your organization. So these two are actually require advanced machine learning algorithms like Python or R. And the advantage with Tableau Desktop is you can run your Python scripts in the Python server, and you can connect that Python server back to Tableau, and the results of those scripts can be visualized in Tableau. And within the Tableau, there is a pane called analytics pane where a certain amount of predictive analytics like forecasting can be done by Tableau Desktop. So, with respect to the business intelligence domain, the two major questions any BI tool will be answering is descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics. And actually, Tableau completely answers this complete domain. And a little bit of predictive analytics also can be done using the analytics pane that is by default present in your Tableau desktop. So we have seen that Tableau is a business intelligence tool, and we have also seen what is business intelligence. Next, we see what comprises a business intelligence architecture. So what are the different components? So this is more or less a generic business intelligence architecture, which is more or less followed in any organization. So it starts with four kind of systems. First is your source systems. So source systems are nothing but your transactional systems for which are required for the day-to-day operations of your company. They are also called as operational systems, which collect and store your business data. So these systems are usually databases or mainframes that store the data, which is typically limited to recent or current data. So if you take the example of a banking business, so all your ATMs, your front-end desk machines that are there in the bank branches, your mobile banking apps, your online banking websites, all these comprise the source systems or your operational systems, which are helping you to do your day-to-day transactions with your banking, whichever bank you are, you're a customer of. So next is the ETL process. So ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. So here you use ETL softwares like Ab initio, Data Stage, or Informatic. Yeah. So what this basically does, it will combine, clean, and move the data from your different operational systems to an integrated data warehouse. So since we take an example of a banking domain, right, wherein your source systems could be your mobile banking app where you're doing your transactions to transfer your money from one account to another, or you're using your front end desk of your bank branch where you're physically depositing a check, or you're asking them physically depositing money over there and asking them to transfer into a deposit to a particular account, or you're using ATMs to withdraw the amount, or also deposit checks over there. So each of these is triggering a transaction, and all of these could be for a particular customer. So at the end of the day, you have to collate all these data that is coming from these different source systems, and at the end of the day tell what is the account balance for a customer, which is the consolidation of all the transactions that are happened for a particular customer. So this requires combining the data from these different source systems, because the software on which ATM is running could be mainframes, and it could have a different kind of file structure. And your bank branches apps or the online banking web pages, they could be using a different kind of web server client and web server architecture, and it could be a different file format where the account details, transaction details are maintained. In a similar way, Android is used for your mobile banking app, and this could be generating a different kind of a file which talks about the transactions happening for your account. So at the end of the day, you should combine all these things for your account and come with a consolidated balance for the account. So that's what this ETL process does, so that you'll have one single version of truth. And then where do you store this data? So this data which you are combining, cleaning, and putting it in one place, that is called as a data warehouse, which is nothing typically but a relational database like your Oracle, Teradata, IBM DB2, etc., or Microsoft SQL Server, where you are storing the long-term history of this one single version of truth of your organization. This will last for 2 to 5 years or even more. Okay. So once you have this historical data about your organization, that's when you go for the next last final step, that is using a BI platform to bring out those analytics which I talked about, is your diagnostic analytics, or analytics which you talked about in the initial descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics we talked about earlier. So the questions like what has happened in an organization and why did it happen, kind of questions are done through the analysis using different graphs and shown it in a dashboard using a tool something like Tableau. Okay, so that is the last stage in your BI ecosystem or your BI architecture. Okay. So coming to the different products we have in our Tableau. Okay. So any BI tool mostly comprises of two things here. One is the client side and another is the server side. So here client side means the software with respect to the BI tool which you will install on your own laptop or desktop, which is basically for authoring the reports, that is creating the reports in Tableau. And then once you create these reports, you would require a server side software of the same tool so that you can distribute these reports to the end users. So once you create a report, you should have a centralized place wherein all your end users who are consuming this report can come and see those dashboards. Okay, whatever you created in using the client side software. And this helps you to maintain the load balance. So there could be thousands of users using the same kind of dashboard concurrently, and they could be using different kinds of slices, filters, parameters, etc., to execute the dashboard. So all of this load has to be maintained without any crash down of your system, and that is done through the server side software. Also, you should be able to control the security. So who can see your dashboards? So one particular set of dashboards based in one particular project folder should not be visible to another department. So one thing should be completely be segregated from the other set of project or department. So all these kind of access control, load balancing, and these dashboards can also be seen on different devices. It could be your mobile phone, it could be your laptop, it could be your desktop, it could be a tablet computer. Any of these could be used to use your see the dashboard that you created. And the dashboard should be presentable and across all these devices and across multiple users with the access control etc in place. So that is why you require a server side software of your BI tool. So on the client side, you have called something like Tableau Public Desktop and Tableau Desktop Professional. So Tableau Public Desktop is an unlicensed version provided by Tableau just for kind of some basic learning which you can do, just to know look and feel of the tool. It doesn't have all the things which are required in a production system. Yeah, it can only connect to text files only. And whatever things you created using Tableau Public Desktop, you cannot locally store it also. You have to publish these workbooks created using Tableau Public Desktop onto the server side software, that is Tableau Public Server. Okay, so just it is like if you want to share your ideas with another Tableau developers, then you can use a Tableau Public Desktop and publish it again on the Tableau Public Server, which is like unrestricted use. Anyone who has an ID and password on the internet, they can register as a user on the Tableau Public Server and can download and see the underlying data also of your visualization. So it is just for sharing and collaboration of your ideas using the Tableau tool with other Tableau developer community. So that's basically why you would use a Tableau Public Desktop, which is an unlicensed version. Okay, the actual thing that you use in enterprise is Tableau Desktop Professional, which is a licensed version, and this has connections to almost all kinds of databases that are used in the data warehouse, and you can save it on your machine also as a Tableau workbook or as a Tableau packaged workbook, and you can publish this onto either Tableau Online or Tableau Server, which is on-premise tool of your server-side component. And this is what you actually use in your enterprise also. So this requires a license for using it. And if you do not have a license and you install this Tableau Desktop Professional on a machine, then you can start a free trial which will last for around 14 days on your machine. And once that 14-day period is over, you cannot use the same version of Tableau Desktop again on the same machine. That is what is the restriction here. And coming to the server side, we have something like Tableau Server, which you can install on your own premises of your own servers. So you can install it on Linux server or Windows servers, which you have in your organization, specifically for your Tableau software on the server. So Tableau server is on premise. Totally, you will control everything using a Tableau administrator. What all permissions, access, and all, even any maintenance, everything you will do it from your side only. And if your company is small and you don't want to bear the infrastructure cost of maintaining servers and etc., you can opt for something called as Tableau Online. So what a Tableau server does on premise, this is being done in the cloud fashion, where a cloud space is provided by Tableau company itself. So they provide a cloud space for your organization, which with all the security features and admin features, but the infrastructure you need not maintain; it will be maintained by the Tableau company. So that is the difference. And then there is your Tableau public server. So here anyone on the internet, they can just register over here, and they can publish anything from your Tableau public desktop onto this Tableau public server, and anyone can download and see the underlying data as well. So this is just for sharing ideas or any solutions you want to provide, share it with other Tableau community developers, you can do so. So next, coming to Tableau pricing. So let's go and see this on this particular URL where it talks about your Tableau pricing, and we need to go for organization in order to understand the Tableau pricing. So on the Tableau pricing for the teams and organizations, you should first decide where you are deploying your Tableau. So are you going to deploy it online, that is using completely, which is the server infrastructure is hosted by Tableau, or are you going to install it on your own premises, that is on premise? So if you're installing on your own premise, right, then there are three kinds of licenses which you might be requiring depending on how you are going to access it on the server. So one thing definitely which is required is the Tableau creator. So if you're taking Tableau Desktop Professional, the license which you require in order to operate Tableau Desktop Professional is your Tableau creator license. So this will be $70 per user per month, and without the Tableau creator you cannot publish this onto any server, whether it is online or Tableau server on premise. You require at least one Tableau creator license so that you can publish your dashboards onto the server. Okay, and once so that costs you around $70 per user per month if you are deploying the Tableau server on your own premise. Okay, the other thing is Tableau Explorer and Tableau Viewer. So your end users also will be billed for using Tableau. That is again depending on whether you are using Tableau server or Tableau online, the pricing will change. So there can be two categories of people. So Tableau Explorer is a kind of data analyst or business system consultant kind of users who, along with viewing the data, can also create certain ad hoc reports also. So if you require such kind of a permission on the server where you can create your own ad hoc reports also, then you go for a Tableau Explorer license. So it will cost you $35 per user per month. And if you're just viewing the dashboard using the filters or slices that are there on the dashboard alone, okay, like the word says, viewer, you're just viewing the dashboard, then it will cost you $12 per user per month. So in a typical organization setup, if you take a Tableau creator license are the number of Tableau BI developers that are there in an organization. So if your BI team consists of 10 Tableau developers, then you will require 10 Tableau creator licenses. Coming to the viewers, it depends on the number of end users who are actually consuming your dashboard. So generally it will be 1000 or 2000 number of users who are there in your entire organization. So that will be the number of viewers that will be required for purchasing the Tableau viewer license. And coming to Explorer, again similar to Tableau developers, there would be limited number of business system analysts, system consultants, or your business analysts or data analysts. So you can say around 10, 15 people who are in that category who will require Tableau Explorer license. So that will be your typical kind of organization system where you will be purchasing the license. So this cost will increase, for Explorer and Viewer to 42 and $15 if you're using something like Tableau Online, which is fully hosted by Tableau. Okay, so that is regarding the Tableau pricing. So next is how do you install Tableau? So in order to install Tableau, what you have to do is go to your Google. Okay, let's click on Tableau releases. Okay, and Tableau releases, when you click, the first result you get is tableau.com support releases Tableau desktop. So click on this. This will take you to all the releases that are available for your Tableau desktop. That is all versions up to now, whatever you can download from your Tableau site. Okay, from 2018.3 onwards to the latest, that is 2021.4 are available. And after 2021.4, whatever the dot 2 dot 1 you are seeing are the maintenance versions for that particular version of Tableau. So nobody uses the latest one because we don't know how much stable the latest version of Tableau desktop software is. There could be some security glitches or some kind of performance issues with that. So most of them are still on Tableau 2020.1 or 2020.3. So for me, in my thing, I'm using 2020.1, and that is what you will see in most of the organizations right now. Very few people would have migrated to 2021 version because we don't know what kind of issues are there. They'll wait for it to stabilize, and then only they'll move to the next version. So you can click on 2020.1.22, and once you click on it, you'll have download Tableau desktop. So click on this, and you will have one of these options. So this is not yet available. So it says, so you can go for the next version, 2020.21, I think, 2020.3, I think. You can go click on it. So click on download Tableau desktop. Okay, where is it? Okay, let's go to 2021 and let's click on download Tableau desktop. So if the particular version is not available, it says it's not available. Let's go to the next version. Yeah, so next, this 2021 is available. You can click on Tableau desktop if it is Windows operating system which you are using, and you can click on this for if you are using a Macintosh operating system. So if you click on for Windows, so Windows machine is what I'm using. So I can explain with that for you. So once you click on this .exe file, like your any other regular software.exe files, you will have a .exe file downloaded on your machine. And once you click on the .exe file, it will automatically start installing your Tableau desktop. Only few things it will ask you in the installation dialog box. That is your first name, last name, your email ID, your organization name, and a phone number. So these are all compulsory fields, and you need to give them. These can all be some hypothetical things also. You can give any organization name, hypothetical name, but give some mail ID and some phone number, and only after takes that, it will start the installation. So you don't have to do anything else. So once you the installation and is done, you start and go to Tableau folder, and you will see the Tableau desktop installed there, depending on what version you have installed. So you can see T. So I have this 2020.1 installed, and it will automatically come over here once the installation is done. So that is with respect to the installation of Tableau. Okay. So coming to the interface of Tableau. So once you install Tableau and you click on the Tableau desktop, so you will see the interface something similar to this, which is, so you can see a Tableau Desktop Professional Edition, which is a licensed version, which you are using right now. Okay, so this is the first thing which you are seeing here. So this is the first welcome page that you see once you open your Tableau Desktop. So on the left side, it gives you the connect options. So you can connect to file sources, you can connect to all the server related sources, which are like IBM DB2, Teradata, Splunk, Snowflakes, all these, also Google BigQuery you'll be having, these are the regular things which are used, for the data analytics purpose. And these are all native connections. So you don't have to do anything else. Just click on it, and it will just, it'll ask you, like for example, SQL Server, I'm saying it just ask me what is the SQL Server address that you require, and what is the authentication that you require in order to connect to that Microsoft SQL Server. Just once you have the access to your Microsoft SQL server, you just pin in your details over there, or you can use Windows authentication if you are already. Generally, Microsoft SQL Server uses Windows authentication. So if you are authenticated on your SQL Server of your organization, it will connect to the Microsoft SQL Server. So that's as simple as that to connect to anything. So no other administrative headaches are over there. So if it is not provided in if you're the database which you're using is not provided by these native connections, and if it's suppose Java database connectivity or open database connectivity, right, you can use those ODBC or JDBC connectors and connect to your backend data source. And the other things which you have is something called as a saved data source, which we'll cover later in our topics. So these are some saved data sources which are available, and you can connect to these as well using the Tableau desktop. So it is shown under saved data source. So here each a file which you create using Tableau tool is called as a Tableau workbook. So it will be a TWB or a TWPS, which is a packaged workbook. So if you want to open a workbook, you can click on open a workbook, navigate to the particular folder in your local machine where you have saved that workbook, select it, and then click on open to open the workbook. Or if you are regularly using that workbook, that is you are still under development, you can always pin them over here like your favorites, and so that you don't have to navigate to this particular path like I stored here and open that workbook, but just once you're on the welcome page itself, you can click on it and it will open. And these are some sample workbooks that are provided by Tableau itself to just demonstrate what are the options you have in your Tableau tool. And on the right side you have discover, which is like trainings which are provided for free by Tableau itself. So there are some basic level trainings which they provide, and there are some resources, blogs, community forums about Tableau, which you can go through. And if you're not on the latest version of Tableau desktop tool, then it will always gives you what is the latest one and gives you an option to update to the latest version. So for the purpose of example, let us open one sample workbook to understand what comprises a Tableau workbook file. So Tableau workbook file basically consists of first individual worksheets, and all each of these worksheets combinedly form a dashboard or a story. So if you see here, the first thing which you're seeing here is a dashboard. So this is comprised of sheets which are like total sales, sales map, sales segment, and sales by product. So in Tableau, each visualization forms one sheet. So if you go here, this executive overview profitability all, this is one worksheet which you created. Okay, using the sample data superstore database, and you have connected to this database over here, and you have created this worksheet, one visualization. So this is next one. This is one more graph which you created. This is again one more worksheet. So if you click on this go to worksheet, you'll go to that particular worksheet. So this is another visualization which you created. So in Tableau, each graph is created in one worksheet, and combination of the sheets forms a dashboard, or you can create also a story. So if you go to a new sheet, this is how it will look like. So this is called as a canvas, and these are rows and columns, and these are the data sources. There could be multiple data sources which you are connected to, and you can select any one of them. So you can just drag and drop any of these dimensions which are here, or the columns that are there in your table. Okay, so they are categorized as dimensions measure, that is categorical data, or numerical data. So I'm just dragging and dropping two things, that is category and subcategory, and I'm dragging and putting the sales measure which is coming out as sum of sales. And then click on T, like enable the marks. So it's automatically giving you a horizontal bar graph, and you can change this to any visual which you like. So there you can convert it to a pie chart, you can convert it to highlight table. So there are different options, and depending on what kind of things you have chosen, that the columns get readjusted into appropriate marks and rows and columns, and create your visuals. Okay, and whatever the columns that are coming from a data source are always depending on whether they're categorical or numerical. It will be categorized as dimensions and measures. That's what you're seeing here. And this is the canvas which I dragged and dropped. And there's a filters card where you can add additional filters to limit the amount of data you're seeing. And this T is used to enable the labels for your sheet. And there are other options depending on which menu you are. So this is a data menu to add new data source, or you can add this as an extract, or create an extract from it, or you can add to a saved data source, this one. And since you're on a worksheet, there are things like, do you want to show the title, caption, summary, what kind of cards you want to show? All these can be adjusted here. Since you're not on a dashboard, some of the dashboard menu options are disabled, like showing grid to format, copy page. Only new dashboard option is what is available. But if you're on a dashboard, then this dashboard menu options are enabled here to tell you what kind of things. If you want to show a grid here, or what are the options that you want, you can see here. And this is an analysis things which talks about whether you want to show measures always by aggregation, that is aggregate measures. Do you want to see the underlying view data? Do you want to enable subtotals? How do you want to add it only for row or a column, or for all subtotals? What will be the table layout? Should you empty the rows, show field labels, etc.? What filters you can add? What highlighters are there? What parameters are there? Do you want to create a calculated field? Or what in any existing calculated fields you want to edit? All those things you can see in the analysis menu. And the next is your stories. So stories are created both by dashboards and sheets. So this is one more option. So if you want to show some kind of a start, middle, and conclusion kind of a story, like the word indicates, right? It will always have a start. There is a middle body, and there is a conclusion. Okay, in that way, if you want to explain, then you can say this is the start. The first one. This is the start. You can say start. Okay, this is how your company has started, and then maybe this is the middle part. This is how it is present. Okay, start, present, and next could be your future. Like next, you're going to the next level. What you're expecting. Okay? That is one more thing, like future. You know, the future. So these are the things you want to show in a presentation. So you have started, like this is a present, and then this is a present scenario, and this is your future scenario. So this is called as a story. So it can be a combination of both your dashboards as well as sheets. So that's about our first few slides about our Tableau introduction, that covers up to the demo topics. That is up to the interface of Tableau. So overall, coming to the course outline, what are all the topics we cover is like, as it is, we have already seen the introduction to Tableau. Add-on topics is in the people who are not familiar with data warehouse concepts. I can separately cover one session on data warehouse. And of course, you need to acquire a high-speed internet or a desktop for for the lab setup. I will guide you through how to install Tableau desktop on your machine, so that you can get going on the add-ons. Then additional courses, yes, you will always get your documentation and your URL links will be provided. And at the end of this completion of the course, MindMajix will conduct mock interviews to the participants who want to evaluate themselves before applying for a job and to understand their knowledge gap. And you'll also be provided with a course completion certificate from MindMajix, which would look something similar to the ones which I pasted on the slide. So that completes this demo session. So thanks for attending the demo.